over.
Let's get it.
Is this a new song?
Oh yeah.
No, Mike been gone for a couple weeks, man.
Hey, man.
He's like, what? Oh, you
I can't hear it, but I'm like, damn.
It's just the instrumental right here. We ain't got the words on. We just want to vibe.
I thought that was at Riley.
It is.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But see, you know what I'm saying? You can get ready to drop a track right now if you want to. You know how you was ready to rap it before?
Yeah.
Now you gonna really drop a track. Okay.
Next show. Hey, it's tough.
Why would I cough right there? It's just
Y'all track gonna go double plastic.
Shut up, man. HasBeens Podcast. Swan hating at the beginning, man. What is the episode 111? 111?
Yeah. Triple ones.
Triple ones?
Yeah.
111. We got, special guests in the building. We're going to get around to my boy Ben in a second. But it's the HasBeens Podcast, man. My boy Mike back in the building. Macio is out, but he will be back next week. I don't know. The fans kind of convincing him to. I asked him, like, look, y'all got to gas him up, and it's been working. It's been working. Macio will be back next week. Mike back in the building this week. Absolutely. Yeah. Twan in the building again.
Always consistent, you feel me?
Yeah, man. Twan is really
you like Michael Bridges, ain't you?
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Oh, you said Bridges. I don't know why I'm thinking of Fultz. I said, I ain't that.
Mikal Bridges.
Consistent, boy.
Yeah, he definitely never missed a game in college, never missed one in the pros, man. Twan, one of the most consistent guys in the game.
I try to be here, be punctual and shit, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And obviously it's your boy Cam Will, man, the guy y'all love to hate. The guy that, just the guy, man.
Just a guy.
Yeah, man, just the guy, man. We in the building, man. Got a special guest in the building, man. All the way from Philly, man. Now he in the A.
Yes, sir.
Mortgage banker. TikTok superstar.
Try to be.
A friend of the show, man. And I should have asked you before the show, because I've been pondering like how to pronounce the last name. I was like, is it Coulibaly?
Coulibaly.
Coulibaly.
Yeah.
Ben Coulibaly, a.k.a. BenTheBanker.
Yes, sir.
In the building.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Give my
sir.
guy
Yes,
some
sir.
hand
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. We got Ben in the building, man. Gonna be we've been setting the vibes for y'all lately. We, obviously it's a sports and pop culture podcast, man, but we got to start giving more emphasis to the culture part of this. And today, we've been kind of giving y'all some flavor in the last couple of weeks. We've been getting some good reviews on that. Everybody enjoying it. But we got Ben in the building, man, and we're going to give a lot more to culture. We're going to talk about banking, home ownership, investments.
Yes, sir.
A lot of this good stuff, basic foundational things that us in the black community are missing, we're misinformed about. A lot of it just, some of this stuff is new. Some of, it's just was never kind of right in our face growing up, and, we'll get to it.
Right.
But first and foremost, let's talk to Ben. Let's first and foremost, let me get my notes. I'm looking at the bottom of the notes, and I just see Kevin Samuels' name highlighted him, and I'm like, I don't know.
R.I.P. Kevin.
Yeah,
boy
R.I.P.
Kev,
Kevin
Rest in
Samuels.
peace, man.
I'm like, I don't know where I was supposed to start. But first off, just because I want to really, really start from the groundwork, and let's like business for dummies today.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
First, just tell us what a mortgage banker is and kind of what you do.
That's a great question, man. So for those of you who don't know, a mortgage banker, obviously the name mortgage, right? A mortgage is a voluntary lien that you put up on a property. Probably a more complex way of explaining it, but a loan that you get on your home, pretty much. So I'm the person that pretty much is the upfront guy, the guy that explains to you exactly what the qualification requirements are needed in order for you to qualify for a loan, right? And then on top of that, I also explain to you what programs are out there for you to qualify for. And then based off of that, I evaluate your information. I evaluate everything that you're looking to do to meet your financial goals. And hopefully with the requirements that, are needed for certain programs, you meet those, and then I can help you, get your home financing in order. And that's for primary homes. That's for second homes. That's for investment properties as well. And there are a lot of different programs out there, man. You got FHA programs, which is normally used by first-time home buyers and primary homes. You got conventional programs, which can be used for primary homes, second homes, and investment properties. And you also have no doc loans, like bank statement loans that don't require tax returns or income documentation. So a lot of different programs, VA loans for veterans, USDA loans for rural areas. If you're outside of Atlanta or outside of any major cities in the United States. So just pretty much that's what I do, man. I just help people understand the foundation of what it means to finance a home or qualify for a home loan.
Okay.
Yep.
That's definitely complex when you kind of hear, especially people who don't know. They like you hearing all these terminology used. And I'm like, oh, shit. Even myself, like I'm not.
It's a lot of going to it.
Yeah, I'm not dumb to it, but I'm like, damn, now that he's talking, I'm like, damn, I ain't as smart as I thought, and it's kind of like, so just hearing kind of what you do is already intimidating to, most listeners and most people who listen to you. Yeah. So, I don't know if Twan and Mike, if y'all got any lead-in questions to get to Ben, but I kind of want to start kind of at the ground with, like you say, buying a home. Mm-hmm. And obviously, most of us, I don't own a home.
I don't own a home either.
So none of us own homes in here and on the show.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of, and most of our listeners kind of fit into the same demographic, same age group of people who are either just purchased their first home, looking to purchase their first home, establishing credit, and looking to kind of make, getting out of college, kind of looking at life for the first time. Mm-hmm. So I guess my first question to you is, what would you advise someone who's coming out into the, the workforce, gaining their traction in their new life outside of the bubble they were in? Mm-hmm. What things do you, advise them to focus on early, make sure they got intact, and I don't even know how to, just kind of what do you think they should focus on?
Yeah,
first
definitely.
And foremost?
I think the first thing that anybody who's looking to purchase a home needs to focus on is their credit. That is the first and most important thing. I mean, without credit, there's really nothing we can talk about, right? Mm-hmm. So the easiest way that I like to simplify getting your credit where it needs to be is establishing credit, right? Managing credit, and making sure that you don't abuse it as well. All right. So those are the three things. And what I mean by those things is establishing credit. You need credit in order to buy a home. Right. I know that confuses a lot of people. I get people who come up to me and go, hey, I don't have no credit, so I should be good.
Nah.
And
there's no history of showing that you could pay for something like that.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what you do when you establish credit. You're establishing your history of how you are financially. Banks don't care how much you have in your account. That's the truth. Unless you're going to buy the home cash, which normally people don't, they don't care if you have $100,000 in your account. All right. That they don't care. Even if you got the income coming in and you could prove that you've had it coming in consistently for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. They don't care if you don't have the credit, because the credit is going to show that you have been responsible with the current creditors that you've established relationships with. Right. Okay. So it's just like
a bold of confidence that you're going to do good business with me.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. It's your history, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what it's about. Establishing that, making sure that you utilize it the correct way, right? So making sure that you stay below 30% of your utilization on your credit cards, right? Making sure you aren't late when you have to make payments, every month. Making sure that any derogatory items that you may have on there, make sure you get them situated. If you have collections, right? Because life happens, right? Getting those situated, make either, you settle on those or you get them removed off your credit, however it may work, you know what I mean? And just not abusing it, man. I think in our community, people definitely are, and I don't think it's on purpose. I think it's the financial literacy part.
Right. Mm-hmm.
People are accustomed to people don't understand credit. Yeah. So it's very easy, especially at a young age, to get you know, a couple credit cards and just go.
Just run it up.
Yeah.
Like
See-
they giving me money, I pay it back later.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't really know what that means or how it's.
Yeah, and
how's
what
it
you
affecting
doing. Yeah, so like for me, it was kind of like not the exact opposite, but it was like the financial literacy part where I come into a situation, I get my first credit card, I only had one, but not understanding kind of what bills to pay, like, you know, what the creditor, what is actually affecting your credit score, where, you know, student loans is actually affecting, you know, your car note, you know, those type of things. I'm over here, you know, thinking I can let the student loan, it's like $50, I can let that ride for a couple months, and it's killing my credit, you know. And then I got one credit card, and, you know, had a low limit, but I ran it, you know, it was like a $500 limit, $1,000 limit, and I pushed it to the limit, and it's just like I come back and look at my credit card, I'm like, whoa, what happened, you know? And then, you know, how you run it up, you know, if they only give you $1,000 limit, it's probably for a reason. And at the time, I couldn't pay back $1,000 worth of debt, so now that interest start building up, and you go from 100%. I didn't know you can go into the like over 100%. You feel me? It's like you hit that credit limit, that's cool, but then that interest gonna start building up on top of it.
Yeah, man.
Don't play with you, man.
Definitely, and that's, you know, that killed your credit. Now, not only did you abuse it, but now you getting hit on two different sides, because sometimes what'll happen is you overspend, you spend more than you can manage, and then on top of that, you paying interest when you pay the minimum payment, right? Or you paying those $100 payments, and even those, the interest is still building up because they counting that 25% interest on the full $1,000.
Right.
That's a lot.
Right.
So that builds up, and now you catching yourself in that snowball. It's that snowball effect. It's just building as it rolls. You know what I mean? So yeah, just not abusing it, man. Just not abusing it. And I think, like I said, it goes back to the financial literacy part in our community. Just understanding what can you do to leverage credit instead of letting credit leverage you, or letting the creditors leverage you, because literally that's what they do.
So what would you advise a young person looking to establish credit, which means obviously, you know, you go get a credit card. Are there any other ways? And one thing I've been seeing recently, it wasn't when I was, you know, first getting out of college, these programs where they're now allowing your rent payments and cell phone payments and things of those sort to go and be reported to the credit bureaus. I guess outside of that and getting a credit card, are there any other programs or any other small things that people can do to start establishing credit and getting them positive notes onto their credit report?
Yeah, definitely. Here's one thing that I think some people do know, but I don't think enough of us take advantage of. If you have family members, your mom, your dad, or brother or sister, a relative who has good credit, let them add you, or ask them could they add you on their trade line as an authorized user. They don't necessarily have to give you a card to use, but that can help you establish credit without you actually having
doing anything.
Yeah.
Just kind of benefiting off their work.
What's the youngest age you can start that at? Like
18.
Oh, okay. So it's
18.
I was about to say, damn, you can get your kid in there early.
Yeah, 18.
Okay.
Oh, no. Actually, if you want to, I thought you meant like when can you actually like get like credit. But if you want to like add your kid on there, you can if you want to. A lot of people
you can start establishing credit.
You can start establishing your kid's credit at a young age, yes, before they even reach the age of where they can actually go and start applying for credit. You can put your kid on your credit card as like an authorized user.
That's big.
Yep. You definitely can.
That's big time.
You definitely can. So, definitely something that people in our community need to take advantage of, and that you obviously want to make sure that you're handling your business, because anything you do negative on the account
is going to
affect them, and we don't want to do that to
your kid coming out with a 430 and freshman in college.
Like, what happened?
What happened?
We already taking a step back.
like damn, pops, y'all did me in right here.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that too, where people open lines of credit in their kid's name and do bullshit with it and think it's like just nothing, and then their kids, when they 18, getting out of school, like trying to do shit, and it's like, bro, I got like a 400 credit score. And I don't, because they didn't open it, because, you know, like part of it is like, you know, having the accounts open for those amount of years. So like that shit been just sitting on their credit, just pounding on you for years.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And then they gotta go fix that mess up, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if y'all got any questions related to the credit part before we move on from
I'm over
credit.
here taking notes.
That's what I'm taking notes on my notes. So it's like, damn, I'm like, I hope I don't ask the same question again. And so we talked about credit as the number one thing. Obviously, we looking to buy a home.
Mm-hmm.
We established the credit. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you want to get a good job.
Yeah.
Where, I guess it's always market dependent, but where do you think is a good sweet spot where you think, you know, you would advise somebody to earning power to be at before they would be looking to actually purchase a home?
That's a good question.
Earning power, as in how much money do you need to be making?
Yeah, like what you think is a comfortable place where you tell them like, okay, you know what, you are in a position where you could be buying a home.
I think, well, for me, an ideal client would be somebody with over a 700 credit score, make 6 figures, and got some good money in the bank to put on down payment. That's an ideal client.
Right.
But that's not everybody's situation, and I know that. You don't got to have excellent credit to buy a home. And in terms of income, you don't got to make 6 figures to buy a home. I've helped multiple people who don't make 6 figures buy a home. But that also depends on where the market is as well in terms of interest rates and the housing market, right? I've helped people who make $40,000, $50,000 get into a home. But they had minimal debt, they had decent credit, and the market was in their favor. They actually could find something they could afford based off their income, and the mortgage payment was offering them. They could afford that mortgage in that market time. You know what I mean? So, but now the market is a lot different. You're talking about 5-6% interest rates.
Yeah, I was just looking at today like, wow.
Yeah. So somebody who's making $50,000 today with those interest rates in today's housing market, where you can't even get a fixer upper for $250,000 or $300,000. I mean, that's probably not ideal in this market, even if you have minimal debt. Like, you're barely cutting it. You know what I mean? So it really depends on the situation where you're looking. Like, someone who's looking for a home in Buckhead, $50,000 ain't gonna cut it in Buckhead. There's no way. There's no way. Somebody who makes $50,000 in New York City, ain't gonna cut it. Right? California, same thing. Right? But if you go out to the country of Georgia, $50,000-$60,000 might take you a long way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So everybody's situation is different. There is no one way of, okay, you making this much, you good, because you could get to that amount and realize, nah, it's not going to work for me based off where I want to be at or what I want to do.
So it's more about being realistic with what you want and where you're at financially and kind of in your journey.
Exactly.
Okay.
100%.
Because I think that's, like, for a lot of people, they don't, you know, getting started is kind of the hardest thing and kind of the most important thing, obviously, for most things. And most people don't get started with, like, all right, what do I need to do? You know, they think it's just like buying a car, buying some shoes, whatever else. This is the one thing that doesn't work like that. You kind of got to plan for it. You kind of got to. And especially, like you said, with the market, just because you like the house don't mean the house like you. And that's what my dad told me. And I didn't know what it meant, but it's like, you know, if somebody else, like, you know, me, Mike, and Twan might both want this crib. And it's like, all right. So now it's like, yeah, you like the crib and everything's lined up and you can afford this and everything, but it's just other factors that go into this. And he was like, it's a nasty game. So it gotta be something you gotta be looking at way in advance and making plays 2, 3, 4 years in advance. Especially if you don't want to be one of them people sitting there and every time you go and bid on a house, you getting outbid, or it's just some little small circumstances stopping you from being the person who gets to bid, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
You go, what's up?
I didn't know about the bidding wars, man.
Yes,
buying a house, because I'm in the process of thinking about buying a house in a couple of years. So I'm just kind of build my credit and, you know, like you said, just look at different programs. And with the market, it's kind of crazy right now in Atlanta. So I just think it's best for me just to kind of just wait, save up until it's the right time.
Yeah. You definitely just want to be in the right position before you come in. That's the other thing too.
That makes sense.
Yeah, be in the right position. Don't rush the process. I think that's what happens with a lot of people too who are trying to buy a home in the getting started phase of fixing your credit, right? Getting the amount of money that you need, right? Making sure your employment history and income is together. Don't rush nothing. If you know in your heart that, yo, I'm not in position to make something happen, just wait it out. Put yourself in a good financial, you know, spot for that you feel comfortable with. No one else, you. personally feel comfortable with, and then go after it. You know what I mean? And educate yourself, man. Educate. I think people take social media for granted, man. Yeah. There's so much out there in social media that you can I'm self-taught in a lot of things. But I think a lot more people can, especially in this real estate world, mortgage world, banking world, you can learn so much on social media because people are just willing to just give the game for free.
Right.
It's all over TikTok.
All over TikTok, man. I'm TikToking stuff now before I Google it.
Right,
for real.
That's what I do. I'm like, anytime I'm like, whether it's gaming, banking, anything, I'm looking, because one is like the generation is like real instant gratification. I don't got time to really be searching for answers. Exactly. When I know somebody out here, I can just search a hashtag and he gonna put me in at least the right direction where I can like, it's easier to get to.
Yep.
But, we're going to take a quick little break. Mike, you got you going to like this. Little quick intermission, man. You know what I mean?
What's going on here?
It's a nice little, little break.
Yes, sir. We back at it, man. Back in the building with HasBeens Podcast, in the building with my boy Ben. Where we left off, we were talking about, just buying your first home. We're trying to get ourselves. We're walking through a process of getting yourself together and getting your first home. And we were talking about, obviously, getting your credit situated. But now we talking about the market. Obviously you got to look out and you got to see what's available. And you talked about the interest rates. I don't know if people are aware, but it's national interest rate, right? It's 5+% right now. Pretty high.
Crazy.
It is.
So it's a 2-question thing for me. One, can you explain to the listeners and the viewers why interest rates are so high right now?
Yeah. And
then secondly, what do you expect from the market from this point forward?
Yeah, man. So why interest rates are so high, man? Nah, that's a long-winded answer. But I'll try to make it short. So COVID is the reason for all of this. And when COVID started, right, what happened? A lot of people lost their jobs, right?
Right.
People lost their jobs. Everybody was quarantining,
Most of us.
The world, most of us. The world was at a standstill for the most part, right? So what happened? No income is moving through the economy anymore, right? And you got a bunch of people who are working that got bills to pay, mortgages especially, right? All right, so imagine not having a job at the moment or not being able to work, right? You don't have income, but you got a mortgage to pay. And what happens if you don't pay that mortgage? Well, foreclose. Foreclose. Bank going to seize the home. And I think even for me, when the pandemic started, my initial thought was, it's about to be another 2008. Like, it's about to be a bunch of homes that's going to flood the market because nobody going to be able to make their mortgage payments. But what happened was the government was like, that ain't going to happen.
Right.
We can't let that happen. Like, we cannot let our economy suffer because of this unexpected situation that we got going on. So what they did was they bailed people out. They printed money, printed out those checks. And they also did the mortgage forbearance. All right. So they put a Band-Aid on an issue that was a deep cut. You feel me? That's the way I look at it. It needed stitches. That was a Band-Aid. You feel me? So it was, okay, y'all don't got to pay our mortgages for now. You feel me? We'll figure out what's going to happen afterwards. But for now, we don't want there to be a crash, right? We don't want y'all to foreclose on y'all homes. We want to make sure that y'all good, that y'all keep. So we'll print out all this money. So you print out all this money. You help people, bail out from foreclosing on their homes. Now, and on top of that, you reduced interest rates because you're printing out all this money, people got to borrow money. You got to make it more easier for people to borrow money at the time because nobody got money. So you go through all of that. And now on the backside of COVID, what happens is everybody starts working, right? Businesses are coming back, right?
Right.
But during COVID, everybody was so used to getting that money for free, right? Getting the money for free, getting access to it for free, right? You bailed out on them having to pay the mortgage, so nobody had to pay bills. Some people didn't have to pay their car note, right? They got bailed out on that. So people had money, right? And also, another thing, major companies start coming in and saying they're buying up real estate left and right, especially in Georgia, right? So you had major companies buying homes. You got people getting stimulus checks. Money is pretty much free, bailing out on mortgages. Everything went nuts because it was just so easy to get a loan. It was just so easy to get a loan and money was cheap. Now everybody trying to buy a home. Nothing crashed. It actually got worse. There are buyers on the market. Mortgage rates are super low. They have more access to more than ever before.
Yeah,
Right.
Money is more money. In their pocket.
There's more money in their pocket. Interest rates at 2%. We've never seen interest rates go at 2% in America's history. Never. 2% to anything. That was just unheard of. So you have access to more. Now on the tail end of COVID, right? People going back to work. The economy is going back to normalcy, but it's not normal in terms of everybody was so used to, I got access to all this money. So you still have a lot of buyers. There's huge demand, right?
Yeah.
For homes, right? A huge demand for everything, even cars. But there's not enough cars because you got to think when there's huge demand, right? It's like cool if you got supply.
Yeah, it's a lot of supply
You
chain
got to
issues.
supply.
But the supply chain died down when COVID happened because builders weren't building homes. People who normally was going to sell their homes didn't want to sell anymore because it's like, I'm not going outside. I'm not about to
what's
sell my
happening
home.
out here?
Here's the security. I'm staying inside. That's what they telling me to do. And even with cars, people weren't making cars anything. So what we had at the time was all we had. But you had people who were still like, I'm buying. You feel me? And now even on the back end, it's like, okay, everybody's trying to get back to work. Okay, let's go build houses. Let's go, let's go make cars. Let's go do all these. Okay, cool. But there's no way you're going to catch up to the amount of people who had access to all that money to come, and buy these things. There's no way our supply chain is going to keep up with that. So now what you have is inflation because of that.
Yep.
So much demand, little supply, and everybody is willing to do whatever it takes to buy that little supply. So that price is going to go up. That's like having that one, brownie at school and everybody like, I want that brownie. I'll do whatever it takes to get that brownie.
I give you 10.
Facts.
I give you my lunch for a week.
Facts. And that's what everybody doing. So everybody's willing to even buy it for more than what it's actually worth. And that's on everything, especially homes, right? So now we're at a place where the feds are like, okay, inflation done went up 20-some% in the last year.
Good God.
It's because we tried to fix a major situation, but it was a temporary fix.
Yeah.
It wasn't a long-term fix. Now we got inflation. Homes are going for way more than what they're worth, right? And it really, I won't say more than what they're worth because economically speaking, if something is bought at a certain price, that's the new price.
Yeah.
Right? That don't mean that that's not what it's worth. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's going up from 250 to 400,000
Jesus.
In a day,
that's like like that's
what's
not
happening
something.
here?
Yeah,
What's
that's
happening?
Real intimidating.
It is. So the feds went, okay, we got to do something to slow this inflation down because this inflation is going to put us in a place where it's a fear. Can our economy keep up with this?
Yeah.
Right? So what do you do when there's too much money circulating? You make it harder for people to access that money. And to do that, you go and you raise interest rates. So that's why you have interest rates being at 5 to 6% now.
Okay.
Yep.
That's crazy.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Though.
It makes tons of sense. It's just,
It just
it's
means
just
wait.
so much shit happening at one time, and people not seeing. Obviously, the average person who's just out here kind of living their day to day doesn't do this on a day to day. Is like completely unaware to like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know, because I was used to thinking about it like, you know, we joked about it, PPP and all this shit and coming out.
Yeah.
And like you say, like, you just watch, and that's my next question. Did you think, and you kind of said it, did you think investors crippled the housing market? Because you just watch people, you know, they getting checks, $100,000, $1 million checks, all this stuff, and they just going out, you know, like, fuck it, I'll buy this house. They don't care how much it costs, you know, like, I want this house, or I'll pay whatever it is. And like you said, now that's the new price. And do you think, obviously, I think I can speak for you and say, yeah, but have investors crippled the housing market? And if so, like, what do you think can be done to, or is there something that can be done to help the average person and the average family who's out here trying to actually buy homes, who live in the area? Because a lot of these people don't even live in these areas. They just come in, like you say, buy a bunch of real estate and then just kind of go from there.
Yeah. I think investors, I wouldn't put everybody in like a box when you say investor. I mean, you do have your investors, but I split, you know, what the term investors, because you have your investors who are small investors, like your mom and pop investors, right? Like mom and dad own 5, 6, 7 homes outside of their primary residence. Those are small investors, right? Those people aren't going to mess up the market. It's not enough of those to mess up the market. What it is those huge companies, right? Like Tricon. There are other companies out there too, where what they do is they are major companies who are funded by major banks, who go into communities and buy up. Literally, they trying to buy up all the homes in the community and rent them out. And that is problematic. That is very problematic, because literally they themselves are inflating the market. You get what I'm saying? Like, they can, if they own all the homes on the block, they can pretty much say, hey, this is our price and this is what you got to pay. Because even if you go down the street, you got to pay the same thing.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So that is very problematic. And what it also does, man, is unfair, because you got a lot of people who want the opportunity to own a home, right? Because that is the American dream, man. That's actually the first step to entering the middle class, is home ownership. Who probably can't, because it's like, hey, I want to live in this area. I want to live in this neighborhood. I want my kids to go to this school in this school district. But the only way to do it is to simply rent, because
price is so high with the inflation and all that.
Price is so high with the inflation, and these major investors are going in to buy
everything.
Everything. Yeah. So so like I said, those companies like Tricon, Invitation Homes, there are other companies too, man. We need to do something to regulate those companies, because you're right, they are messing up the market. In my opinion, they are messing up the market. Some people will beg to differ. I think, you know, it's simple when you look at the numbers and you look at economics. It's not helping the average American get ahead, right? Especially economically, financially, anything. It's not helping them. Renting does not help you in any way.
Yeah, at all.
You know
it's the worst.
It's blowing
thing.
money.
It's just like giving away. It is giving away money.
It is.
And so on the opposite side of this coin, what can, because I'm just gonna be frank, from what I see, is the black community is the most affected, because these companies come in and they come into black communities. They're not going into established neighborhoods. They're not going on West Paces Fair. They're not going even Buckhead and, you know, trying to, you know, buy up blocks. They're coming into these black neighborhoods, these these neighborhoods they're trying to gentrify. Obviously, these people are having financial issues. A lot of people, you know, outside of the home that they own, everything else is in disarray, so they're kind of willing to do anything to come out of here. What do you advise, like, people in these communities can do to combat these companies? Because a lot of them are coming in and kind of strong-arming people out of their neighborhoods as well.
It's hard to combat it when you don't have the leverage to.
Right.
To be honest, right? If you're a renter and the owners change, right? If it go from a mom and pop investor to a huge corporation, a huge company coming in and saying, well, we going to buy the whole area, we're going to gentrify it. What can you really do if they're like, well, your rent is going to go from $1,000 to $2,000?
Right. What about the people who own in those areas though?
Hold on to it. If you own in that area, now you have the leverage. If you own it, right,
So what are they doing to push people out of these? Like, how are they coming in?
Taxes.
It's the taxes, yeah.
Property taxes.
Okay.
So if you, even though you may be done paying off the mortgage, you still have property taxes to pay. If they increase those property taxes to an amount that's, astronomical and you can't afford it, then that's going to push you out of there too, right?
Okay.
And also if the property taxes are high enough to the point where the mom and pop investor are just like, man, the property don't mean that much to us anyway. So y'all want to buy it for how much more than what it's worth? Right. Ooh, 50,000, 100,000. Okay, cool.
Bet.
Y'all can take it. Yeah.
Right.
So it's just about, I think within our community, that's what we need to understand is the long-term thinking versus the short-term. We got a lot of people who look at, okay, if I got $100,000 right now, that's better than getting $2,000 a month for the span of my life. You feel me? I'd rather get $2,000 of cash flow every month for the rest of my life than that $100,000.
That take you back to the memes where they always like, would you take $100,000 or your lump sum versus the payments? I'm always like, look, let me get them 2 racks because I know I can lock that in. I know that's coming.
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
I know that. Look, if I can manage 2,000, I can find me a crib, get my rent right, no matter what happened. You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if y'all got any other questions about kind of.
So like VA home loans, how did those work?
VA home loans, that's a good question. So VA home loans, obviously, that's for veterans, and I think it's a great program, man. No money down, no mortgage insurance, and it comes with normally decent rates, normally below market rates. You have to be an eligible veteran though, so not everybody who was fighting in wars qualifies, because sometimes people don't. And if you're a disabled veteran, you get the VA funding fee. There's normally a funding fee that you have to pay with the VA. That's waived, so you don't have to pay that. It's good for primary residents. You can utilize it over and over again as long as you have
refinance the other one.
Yeah, refinance the other one. You always have access to it. So it's a great program. I definitely recommend anybody who's a veteran take advantage of it. You need your DD-214, so you need to be honorably discharged, and you need your certificate of eligibility. So you got those 2 things, you're good to go.
I'm on the way. Look, Mike, my packet is in. I'm almost out. Okay. And when I get that 214, I'm coming to holler at Ben like, Ben,
BenTheBanker, let's cut a deal.
Let's get out here and move and shake.
I'm out in 2 years, man. I'm just planning it out.
Yeah, nah, man, that's definitely good, man. And just make sure, like I said, make sure your credit's together. All you need is we can go as low as a 580. I always recommend a 600 or higher. Have money for closing costs. That's the only thing you really got to pay for is the closing costs. And income. Just make sure you got consistent income still coming in. Some people like to use, I know some people still get checks from the VA. So they'll use their whether it might be disability or just whatever. Sometimes it's pension, I think. Pension, retirement from the VA. You could use that. So, yeah.
Okay. I guess when you talk about income, obviously they want to see in numbers and they want to see stability, right? But we also are in this era of, back we were taught to kind of stay at the job. We talked about this last week.
Oh, you talking about job hopping?
Yeah, like is job hopping something that can be done and still not jeopardize your ability to own the home?
Guess you still getting a check, right?
Yeah.
It don't matter who signing the check.
Yeah,
as long as you're getting a consistent flow. Okay.
Yeah. As long as you got money coming in. Now, here's what I will say. Job hopping, I'm not going to say it as if, like, go ahead and go from 5 different employers in the last 2 years and you'll be fine. It's not ideal, right? Because it makes it harder for us to determine where the consistency is and where your income is going to be. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because he might go get another job and it might be a decrease this time.
Decrease in his income, right? Facts. So it's like, I qualify you for this amount, but in 2-3 months after you close, you just going to go get another job. Now it's kind of questionable because you might get a decrease in income, right? So I always tell people that try to stay where you're at unless your income is going to increase with the new employer. If your income is increasing, that's different.
You can. That's a move you make.
That's a move you should make. Anybody should make that. Or if it's a career change, going into a field that's going to pay you more, makes sense, right? You just don't want to change your tax bracket. You don't want to go from 1099. Well, you could go from 1099 to W-2, but you won't go from W-2 to 1099. Then you have to wait 2 years. But as long as you're going from an employer to an employer where you're getting a check, you're good. I just recommend that the check is always going in the upwards direction.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So these are little small things that, people got to know about.
Yeah.
You got me feeling like a better candidate than I thought I was. Just listening to this guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like for the most part, it's like sometimes people it's a lot, and it's like you say, what's the word? Intimidating. Yeah. And so you just hear all this shit, and you're like, nah, not me. Yeah. I can't do this. You
look at the mouths on TikTok, you be like, I don't know if I can get this.
Yeah. You start looking at shit, he's like,
so nice. Jeez.
But I mean, the market makes it difficult now for a lot of people. So those, the intimidation is kind of warranted now. But previously, before this happened, you still had people kind of missing out on those, myself included. I wish I'd have been paying more attention. I was in a position years ago, to be a homeowner, but not thinking I was, in a position to be a homeowner. Yeah. But then, the pandemic hit and a lot of things changed for a lot of people. And maybe, now you're not so much in a position you were a couple of years ago.
Facts.
So just kind of getting started, being aware, knowing what's going on, what you're capable of doing, what you can qualify for, I think is what people need to be hearing and seeing so they can get out here and be aggressive and be confident. And, you got some direction. You might not go to the club. Some plans. Yeah, you might not go to the club and smoke that hookah this weekend. For real. I can just, like I talk to my girl all the time, and I can just tell how people, because, obviously I'm in finance. I got a finance degree too, so I know money. Yeah, and when you work around money, you kind of know. You can just look at stuff like, nah, you don't make enough money to live like that. Right. And you can I can look at somebody like and kind of get an idea kind of what they do. And I'm like, if they don't have like just this underground, like they invested in something, they kind of just like back end like investor, like the person who like invested but not on the front lines. If they not doing something like that, they don't make enough money for it. And you just kind of watch how people live and the way they shop and the clothes they wear. And it's like, bro, you can't live like that, drive like that, eat like that, travel like that, and own a home. It's just not enough money.
Sustain it.
Yeah, it can't happen. And then you kind of see the people who own homes, and you see your friends who own homes. They don't live those type of lifestyles. And so you kind of, if people knew better, I think they do a lot better, especially black people. And I think that's the biggest problem, and it's a stigma that black people don't want to do better. I think if they just, you kind of knew like, hey, you kind of ran your credit card up, but you can help yourself. You just go open it. That was 10 years ago. Yeah. Just go open another credit card that's going to take you from, $1,000 credit card 4 years ago. You didn't quadrupled your pay. Now you got a $6,000 credit limit. That's going to drop you back down under that 30% you was talking about. Facts. And people just kind of scared, I'm not ever getting another credit card. Mm-hmm. I was like that. Didn't know, like, yeah, you need to actually go get another one. Mm-hmm. That's going to help you out. And I think that's just what people need to hear, know, and stop going to them credit people. I'll ask you what you think. I'm over here talking like, what do you think about the people before we go on break, what do you think about the fix your credit people? Yeah. Are they legit, or do you think that these things can be accomplished on your own?
Got you. So before I go on that, I do want to add on to what you said about being a homeowner and your finances with comparing people who own home versus people who don't. Mm-hmm. Once you own a home, you're right, man. Like, it kind of makes you automatically financially responsible. Like, you have to be, because that first experience you get is when something breaks and you realize ain't nobody coming to fix it.
Yeah.
Right? I think for a lot of people who first own a home, that's their wake-up call. That, oh, shit.
That hot water heater went.
Damn,
yeah, or the AC unit fucking up.
You call mom and dad or uncle, and they be like, "Oh, you gotta pay for that." Right. Oh, nobody coming to fix it? Nah.
I can give you this number to this dude that I know that fixed my water heater last time it went.
So, but then that'll change your thinking. Exactly. Yeah. So it's a responsibility versus renting. You know that, hey, whatever happened, I'm good. So you hit that right on the head. Now, the credit people. Here's what I'll say. I'm for credit repair. I'm for it. And here's why. I know some people are against it. A lot of times with credit repair, I think where you're getting at is not necessarily what they will do to your credit to get it in order. A lot of it is just what you know, right? Mm-hmm. And I always tell people, if you go through credit repair, unless they're educating you and telling you exactly what you should be doing to get your credit in order, then you're paying for nothing. That's when I think it's a scam. That's when I think it's not worth it. Like the Lexington laws. Oh, give us your card information. We just gonna take money out of it every month, and you just gonna see your credit go up. They are doing nothing for you. That does not help you.
They're stealing.
It really is. It really is.
I'm over here thinking like, what are they doing?
What are they doing? Because think about it like this: your credit is determined. It's like a pie, right? But 35% of that pie is payment history, and the other 30% is credit utilization. That's over 50% right there. That's almost 60% right there. That's determined based off not just what you did, but what you know, right? Because if you don't know that, if your credit is over 30%, you will think that, okay, my credit is bad, I need credit repair. But no, you probably got one late payment and all 5 of your credit cards are at 60%. And that's why your credit is at a 590 something, right?
Yeah, and if you just improve that situation.
Your credit go to 700.
Right.
If you just brought your utilization down below 10% on all of those credit cards, it'll go to 700. But you call a Lexington law, and they'll be like, oh yeah, we can get your credit, to this and this by next year. Right. And
writing letters.
Yeah, writing letters. And you like, what's going on?
I be looking into it, man.
You didn't take them out?
I be on TikTok, man. Writing letters, doing certain things, emailing.
Now, here's what I will say. The derogatory remarks, that is something that you probably need help on working out. So if you have a lot of late payments, if you have a lot of collections, right? If you have student loans that, went into default or something like that, they might be a good, reputable credit repair specialist will be able to help you out with those things. For example, perfect example. Let's say you got a medical collection, right? Let's say it's a $3,000 collection, right? A lot of people think that if you just pay it, it'll come off your credit. That's not the case. That collection accounts can stay on your credit for 7 years. Any derogatory remarks can stay on your credit for 7 years. So even if you pay it,
so you feel like you paid it for nothing.
Yeah, you still, if you pay that $3,000,
that's why I be scared to pay. Cause I'm like, what's gonna happen after I pay y'all this bread? Cause like,
credit.
If Comcast reaching out to send me the collections, why? If I pay Comcast, this dude he still got this account he bought off of Comcast.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. That collection agency bought it from the initial creditor, so they have it. And even if you pay them, they don't have to take it off your credit because those agencies pay to put those derogatory items on your credit. So to take it off, they have to pay to take it off too. So they don't work with Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. Those are separate entities. They are their own company. They pay those companies to say, yo, Cam, he owes a collection to you. He owes a bill to Comcast that he didn't pay, to them, and now we have it, and here's the proof of it. Not that you owe Comcast, but just that's how it works. Okay. And so they pay those creditors, the bureaus, hey, here, put it on his credit report. So now if Cam pays it, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are going to pay them to take it off. They don't want to pay them to take it off.
Right.
They just got the money. So it's just like,
we good. We good. I bet.
But now,
no problem.
But now he's still suffering because he just paid $3,000 for his credit to stay at a 500.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
That's hustling backwards like a mug.
Exactly. So that's where a good credit repair specialist can come in and say, hey, you either don't have to pay it at all, or you can settle with them and make sure that they give you an agreement to delete it off your credit before you pay. Because if you don't have it in writing, ain't no way you can make an argument about it later on if it's not removed.
Yeah, that's the one thing I learned about money.
Yeah,
and when you cross money, you need documentation. Everything.
Yep.
Facts. Let's take a quick break. We're gonna talk about investment when we get back.
Sure.
And we back, man, with the guru, man, Ben the Banker, man, in the building. HasBeens Podcast, episode 111, man. Mike Cam.
Great knowledge out here, man.
Yeah, man, and Ben in the building giving us great knowledge, man. We talking about what's the topic, man? What is it? Generational wealth. I like that. Building generational wealth from the bottom up.
Yes, sir.
From the lowest level, man.
From the foundation.
Yeah, man. We gotta build a good foundation, man. Because like he said, man, like you think of a house as such a small thing, but like you said, it's like the primary building block to get you into the middle class.
Yes, sir.
Like you can't really do shit else until you kind of get your house, because it's like rent versus mortgage is a whole different like animal. So it frees you up. Like, you know, if you paying $2,000 a mortgage, rent. Imagine if you own that place, it'd probably be closer to half, 60% of what you're paying. So then now that allows you to kind of make all those other moves you've been dreaming about making in your life with that same check you getting. You know what I mean?
You got to save that check for when the hot water heater went out.
Yeah, you got to save it, but you can make a few more plays, man. You were just paying $2,500 a month
and
on rent.
Equity.
Yeah.
That equity. That's the key to it, especially a primary residence. And it gives you, with ownership, you have the ability you have more control over what you want to do with the property. If you own a 3-bedroom and you live in, you stay in one, there's only one. You one person. You don't need 2 other bedrooms, right? Airbnb.
Right.
Airbnb. You could call some friends who just moved into the area. Hey, you could stay with me. $500, $600 a bedroom. You just have more flexibility over here. So it's just, yeah, man.
And freedom is the key.
Yes, sir.
Giannis is the GOAT too, man. He just unstoppable. I'm just watching him over here get quadruple team. But it's a good game. Hopefully we can watch the rest of it when we get done. But let's talk about investing, because obviously, we talked about buying a home. We talked about, let's say we got into our home now, and now we want to make some, we want to build our empire a little bigger. And you can tell me if I'm wrong in my thinking. Obviously, I understand what saving means, but I don't believe, especially in most of our viewers are black, they're the black demographic, that the black community can solve our financial issues by saving. So, but we need to make proper moves with our money, and it's all going to be risky, but that's what investing is. And so, one, do you think that my idea of, black people needing to save is not going to solve our issues is true? And then secondly, what are some, because I think that more people, just like buying a home, the unfamiliarity with investing is going to have them kind of a little intimidated and scared to invest at the beginning. So what would you recommend would be kind of some of your favorite initial low-level, low-risk investment for the risk-averse?
Got you. I think the low risk way to invest in real estate. Your first home does not have to be a forever home. It is not. All right. For example, and I've helped a client literally do this, build their empire doing this. A veteran, VA loan, no money down, bought their first home, a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, not that big. And they told me it's not their forever home. Bought that home 2 years later. Okay, refinance it, put it into a conventional. I'm going to use my VA loan to go buy another home. I'm going to make that home an investment property, right? You got equity in it. We refinanced it in a way to where we reduced the mortgage payment. So now whatever tenant is in there, they can cash flow some money from it. They paying for the rest of the mortgage. My client went and bought a bigger home, bigger space. VA loan, no money down. Boom. All right, again. And then same thing. Hey, I'm going to refinance, put this into a conventional, and use my VA loan to buy another one. Now, in a span of 5 years, my client has 2 properties where they put no money down.
So you got somebody paying for it.
Another one's paying for itself.
Got somebody paying for the mortgage, but not only that, they cash flowing. So they cash flowing, whether that be $600-$700 that they're receiving that they wasn't getting from each of those properties before, right? And then not only that, they'll build an equity. Got that equity in it, right? So anytime they want to tap into that equity, it could be $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 worth of equity.
Yeah,
they could take that money out and do whatever they want with it. Whether that be go buy a vehicle, put money down on a home if they really wanted to, right? Help out, pay bills, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Send the kids to college.
Send their kids to college. And you don't have to just do that through a VA loan. You could do that through FHA. FHA is another good way to do it, right? FHA, you put 3.5 down, right? You pay your closing costs, obviously, but you can buy FHA. You could use FHA to buy primary residence, refinance it, use FHA again to buy another home, and repeat and repeat and repeat. Same thing for conventional. So that, to me, is the best way to invest in real estate with the lowest risk, because so one, the way you're getting in is you're putting down the least amount of money to get in. Right. Normally, if you buy an investment property outright, you got to put anywhere from 15 to 20% down up front. Normally. So if you live in a home and you say, all right, I'm not going to live in that home, it's going to be my investment property, you put anywhere from 15 to 20% down off rip. You can't just, not put any money down, because it's more risky for the bank. The bank wants to make sure there's some equity in there in case if you default, we have it to sell and we, gain something from it. But if you're going to live in it and then move out of it, the way you got into it was you didn't put any money down, or you put minimal money down, and you keep some money in your pocket and you move on and you buy the next property, but now you still got the old property that's still paying you. Right. That's the best way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
High risk. What are some of your for the more risky? I'm a risk taker. So I want to take big risk. I want high reward.
High reward. Okay. Big
what
risk.
Kind of investments would you suggest to somebody who's looking for a big risk, high reward type?
Definitely. I'm one of those people too. So flippers. If you're a flipper, that's definitely a big risk, high reward. So you go in there, you put 20% down to get the property. Obviously, if you got great credit, you get a hard money lender. They'll finance all the repairs, but the risk is that if you can either do it two ways when you flip. You can either flip the property to sell it, right? Obviously, or you can do the BRRRR method where you flip the property, but you refinance, you cash out of it, and then put a tenant into it, right? To rent out. But it is a risk because you putting a lot more money down, right? You don't know how much repairs are needed for the property until you really get in. Right. A lot of flippers will tell you, they'd be like, man, the plumbing was bad. The foundation was bad. The roof was bad.
The whole house was bad.
Yeah, the whole house was just, I didn't know it was that bad, It's some things that you just don't catch until, you get a contractor going in, they go,
break ground.
You see that? That's going to cost another 10 grand. You know what I'm saying?
Hard drop.
And you like, whoa, that was 10 grand I wasn't expecting on spending. So those are the more risky, but is risky, but the rewards are really high too. But also you could lose a lot, or you could break even most of the time. Sometimes that's the stuff people don't talk about.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay. I don't know, Mike, you got any, Mike Twan, any other, because I got one more as far as, but I want to see if y'all got any investment, home ownership, credit, any of them type questions, man.
You knocked it on the head with the investment, going the right way about it, or either safe or risky. That's something I was definitely trying to get into later on, maybe like a couple years out once I get my first home. But just to get that knowledge now is, get the heads up is real good. So when it's time to happen, you just kind of just flowing with it.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. Yep.
I guess I can speak to, what one of my fear is about it. I have hella student loans, right? So, like, when I was saying I feel like a better candidate now listening to you, like, my credit score is above what you were saying where it needs to be, you know what I'm saying? I've had steady jobs since I graduated, but I still got these big student loans behind me. So, like, where I just need places to start, or like, I guess someone to talk to see, so I can like remove some of these fears to kind of move forward. I guess Michael,
how does it impact you?
Right? How does this impact me? Do you guys even really care about these student loans? If, say, I got this other credit card debt that I got it at a certain point that's good, and I'm working, am I still a good candidate?
Yeah,
because those are big. Those look like big numbers. It's like, this is all debt.
Yeah, facts.
You know?
No, definitely. Student loans are no longer an issue for nobody. It shouldn't.
Really?
Nope. Should not be an issue for anybody. FHA changed their guidelines, so that just opened it up for everybody. It used to be with FHA that if you, let's say you was $100,000 in student loan debt, right? 100,000, 150, 200, whatever it was, right? Your student loans had to be at a fully amortized repayment plan in order for you to, qualify with. So if you have $100,000 fully amortized repayment plan, your monthly payment could be like $800, $1,000 a month. That's factoring into your debt to income ratio in order to determine how much home you can afford, right? But now with FHA, it's whatever income-based repayment plan you're on. So all you got to do is call your student loan servicer and say, hey, what does an income-based repayment look like for me? Like an estimated payment. I just want to know what y'all would do for me. They might ask you for some documentation. Some don't even ask you. They'll just be like, what's your income? You'll be like, okay, it's like 60. They'll be like, okay, based off what you said, it's $100. It's $200. I got a client right now. She got over $100,000 worth of student loans. Her payment plan is, I think, $210. $210. That's what we're using to help her qualify for a home. It's not an issue, man. If you do it that way, you're good. And any good banker that knows that will handle that responsibly and get you in the right place.
Because when you brought up the payment plan, so I right before pandemic started, I brought all the loans together so they can all be on a certain plan. But before I could even make a payment or get into it, everything got shut down with the COVID and stuff. So I haven't paid any of this money, and I think the lender I had changed over, and now that shit don't even show up on my credit. Like it's like gone.
Oh, really?
So I mean, I probably have to look at other creditors.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at Credit Karma. And that, that's still kind of just a little surface level, but it doesn't show up at all.
It doesn't show up at all. Yeah, definitely might want to look into that. Look into other, because Credit Karma is not super accurate.
Right.
It's just a Vantage score. It's just one of the many scores that other creditors look at. So definitely look at, you got Experian, you got Trend, you got Equifax. You could go into any one of those credit monitoring sites and pull your report and see where it might be. Because that would be weird if your student loans didn't pop up. Trust me, they want their money.
I know. That's what if it's gone.
The folks ain't forgetting about bread.
I didn't think they would, but
they keep pushing it back, man.
That inexperience is not showing it right now.
Paying it. Anybody so COVID put everybody in deferment, even me, right? You're in deferment. That is not, you're not delinquent. Like you're not someone who's in default. Like you, it's not like you didn't pay it. You know what I mean? It's not like you owed it and you didn't pay it. Where you're in deferment, you don't have to pay it.
Right.
So that's not going to affect your credit, right? My credit's been standing in the high 700s for a while, and I haven't paid my student loans since the pandemic started.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's the case for everybody else. So
is this period helping anybody? Because when you're in deferment, is it showing you as like current? So is that current is helping your credit, or is it just kind of neutral? If you get what I'm asking, like, does that neutrally just affect it, or is it actually helping people?
It does nothing.
Okay,
it literally does. It might. You could say it helps you in terms of it's another bill you don't have to worry about.
Right. Okay.
Right. So you can. So if you were someone who had a lot of debt and it was like, man, these student loans was killing me, you could just forget about it and pay off everything else, so that when it does start back up again, now you got to worry about it. But in terms of it affecting you in a negative way, it didn't affect you in a negative way. Positively, yeah, probably, because you got other things to worry about that you could pay off. So,
yeah. See, me, I went to school practically for free, so I'm like one of them people who kind of just float around and like that's never been an issue.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people, and kind of, now that we get older, you kind of, especially, you in college, nobody talks about that. You leave the first couple of years, nobody's talking about that. But now you get older and like, you sit down and that's more of a conversation point. Like people are talking about their loans and, they being more candid about how much it racked up over the years. And I hear numbers like 100, 150, 200, and it's just like common. I'm like, oh shit.
No, in fact,
it's so many of people I know are just drowning and terrified. You know what I mean? And again, that's another like point where they're like, I'm not even gonna go buy a crib. Like hell no. Like I'm not even gonna think about this.
You're not even researching it or seeing if you could. It's just the stigma. Like, damn, I can't do that. I can speak for me. That's what it is. It's like, damn, I'm not.
Don't let student loans stop you. I mean, I'm with you, Cam. Like me, I played football in college, so I left with very minimal debt. Like I got a minimal, so minimal that I could pay it off tomorrow.
That's where I'm at too.
Only thing that's holding me back is I know if I pay it off, it's gonna affect my credit. So I don't want to pay it off.
So it negatively affects you a little bit.
If you pay it off, if you pay off student loans and you've been making payments on it and it's got healthy credit history, it does negatively impact your credit.
That's bullshit. I hate
it
credit.
does. I know it does.
That's crazy.
That's the facts. It is, and I hope they change that law, man. I hope they change that rule because I feel like, man, like a car. It's like a car. It's an installment loan. Credit is an installment. It's not revolving. It's not a credit card. It's an installment. Meaning, if you like a car, if you pay off your car, I don't know if any of you ever experienced, having a car for a couple years. You trade it in, or you just sell it, and then you see your credit take a dip. And you go, what happened?
Just bought a new car 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Your credit going to take a dip. And a lot of people go, well, what happened? Like, I didn't do anything. It's because that 2, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year history you had just went off your
changed,
credit.
basically, right?
It's restarted.
It's a restart. Now the new car is going to be the one that's so that don't make sense to me.
I hate it.
Yeah, I hate that too. But that's what happens. So student loans.
I went and bought a car, and like every process of me getting the car, I was just watching my damn credit score dip. Hard increases. Like, why is it's just like my credit score dipped like 15 points just to buy a new car. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But I don't know. You got any fears, Mike?
Not after this.
I just didn't understand credit. That was my biggest problem. Is like I didn't understand how credit worked. And like most people paying like you got to go out there and get a credit card, but like the why behind it is just never there. It's like, so I guess the last question I got, and is the credit question, is do you advise people, because I know as people go back and forth about this, where they say you run it up on your credit card and pay it off, and you keep as much money obviously as you possibly can of your own money, and you put as much on the cards and use as much credit as possible. Is that the way to go?
Sounds the opposite when you're speaking about utilization. You talking about using a lot of utilization to have your cash. Mm-hmm. Like, you have the cash, but you have to spend that eventually. And that credit, if it's high, once you hit the limit, you can't do that no more.
Mm-hmm. So that's a no.
So I would explain it, and it depends. So how I would explain it is this: don't utilize credit until you have saved up enough money first, right? I wouldn't utilize credit until you have money saved up for yourself. And I'm going to go Dave Ramsey on y'all real quick, but about 3 to 6 months of emergency funds saved up. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't even try to utilize credit as if like it's something that you could just, hey, I don't even carry no debit card. I'm going to just walk around my credit card. I would not do that. Right. I would not. I would say utilize cash until you have a healthy savings, right? Now, when you have a healthy savings, now I would say that if your credit is where it needs to be to where you can go and get really good cards that have really good rewards, why not utilize those credit cards, right? Because now you've shown that you've been able to give yourself a cushion in case anything happens. So, for example, if you do go on a spending spree of $500-$600, right, you have the funds to pay it off, right, in case something happens to your income, right? But if you don't have the cushion and you just go spend that money, and now you got this snowball effect, it's not helping you. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So it depends on your situation. For example, me personally, me and my wife, we recently just switched to, hey, we not carrying no debit cards no more. Like, we carrying all credit cards. And at first she was like, oh my God, like, I don't know if I could do this. And I'm like, no, discipline yourself. Like, tell yourself this is how much money you got. You can only spend in a week span, right? And at the end of every week or every month, we just going to pay off the credit cards completely, right? Because we have access to now Amex, right? Sapphire, Discover. We got access to all of these credit cards that have really huge rewards and points, right? And cash back, right? Mm-hmm. On money we going to spend anyway.
Right.
We're going to spend it. We're going to buy groceries. We're going to go get gas. We're going to, pay certain things. So why not get rewarded for it, right?
And then just pay it off, like just pay the card instead of whatever.
Pay the card instead of paying.
Was gonna pay.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. The money going to come in our bank the same way. We just got to discipline ourselves and put it in the right places. That's it. So now, me and my wife, we don't carry debit cards no more.
Okay. And when you say Amex, I think Amber was saying something about Amex, or are they harder to get now, or is that just not a?
It's always been harder to
So
get.
they are. Okay.
Yeah, Amex will always be that credit card that's like,
You got one of them.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't have Amex. Yeah.
I got one.
Amex,
You got one?
Yeah, Amex. That's what's up.
Okay.
Amex.
Barely.
Me neither.
Barely.
Barely. I'm in there, but I got one.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
Capital
I'm a lot of Capital One.
Okay, I haven't tried though. So I mean,
Okay.
it's one of those fear
might
things.
be-
I
I
might
was looking at it for Delta, man.
I got a question. You speak about being in the snowball, and I think a lot of us get in that snowball. What type of advice would you give somebody to come up with a plan to get themselves out of it? Because if you don't stop it, it's not gonna stop.
100%. I would follow Dave Ramsey's approach on it. If anybody who don't know who Dave Ramsey is, go on YouTube and look that man up. He literally has the like a perfect breakdown, step by step breakdown on what you can do to get yourself out of major debt. And this is any debt. And that's where my explanation of before you use your credit cards, what you should do. He's totally against debt completely. Like, he don't even want people to use their credit cards. I'm not like that.
Right.
I think you could have used I think you
You
can
got
use
benefit
credit
from
for
it,
your
yeah.
benefit. He doesn't think that way. But to get out of it, save your 3 to 6 months, right? And then from there, start working on the biggest debt. So whatever your credit cards are, so let's say you got 5 credit cards, right? One of your credit cards is maxed up to $5,000. Let's say that's the case, right? You're not going to get out of that debt by just paying $100 a month.
Right.
There's no way. That interest is
It's
way
gonna
too high. It's just going to continue to build. So what you need to do is you need to say, okay, I'm going to pay the minimum payments on everything else that I have. I'm going to give up. Dave Ramsey is very crazy too. Like, he's super radical. He will tell people, no, real rap. He'll say,
Don't eat.
You're not
no,
going bogus.
seriously. Seriously. You not, listen, during the weekends, what you doing? Oh, I go to the lounge, give that up. Okay, I go shopping, give that up. Okay, I eat during, you got Starbucks, give that up. What else? Oh, you eat out on this day, give that up. Take that money and put all of that money towards that debt.
Yeah.
So now it's not just $100. You start seeing that it's $300, $400 you can
Right.
put towards that debt. Now you really cutting into
You
it.
really putting
You
a
really
real
getting
dent
into it. Yeah. So
and chopping that interest number down too.
exactly. So now when you start chopping it, now every month you got to repeat that same thing until it's fully paid down. Now when that's paid down, then you go to the second card that has the second highest balance, and you repeat the same thing, because he feels like, yo, there's definitely some stuff in your lifestyle that puts you into the situation. If it was ignorance, yeah, possibly. For some people, it's just, yo, I didn't have money at the time, so I had to use my credit. But for most people, that's not the case.
Right.
For most people, it's you were just not being responsible. Like, you had
Wanted some
income coming.
kicks, you wanted some food that you
Yeah.
didn't have to have.
And it was just, you know, I'm a college student. I want to eat out, though. You know what I'm saying? I want to go here with my friends on vacation, but you ain't got it.
It's Wells Fargo.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So cut back on your lifestyle to focus on the things that really matter. So yeah, that's
And
how
I
you
close that credit card out too.
That's not good though. It's not good to close them out. Yeah.
It's not good. So.
Yeah.
But you learn.
Yeah, I learned.
Next time you just keep it open, don't use
Just
it.
keep it on.
Don't use it. But Ben,
Yeah, man.
we appreciate you spitting this good groundwork game. We ain't even gonna talk about the rest of the stuff. I like this
good.
episode
I learned
as
a lot.
is.
Yeah.
How about to say I like it as is? I really appreciate it. You know me. I didn't hit you up before, like Ben, business account. We're the best bank. I done already reached out to Ben DM. Like, Ben gonna put you in the right direction. And it's just like I said. You go straight to the internet, man. Social media, you find the answers.
Facts.
And luckily, I got somebody I kind of know personally that I can just kind of straight ask the questions. 'Cause I didn't look anywhere else, Ben.
Yeah.
You told me Chase, and I went to Chase.
Yeah.
No questions asked. I'm like, you feel me?
sir.
So I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you giving the game. I appreciate what you do for not just our listeners and us in this room, but on a day-to-day basis, helping people out, giving them the game, teaching them the ways, taking that fear and all those different things off their back and allowing them to get to better places financially. And I just want to keep it up, and I'm gonna try to keep it up and keep giving people the game and hopefully we'll bring you back maybe once like a quarter or something.
Appreciate that.
And you
man.
can just give people quarterly business advice. You know what I mean?
Facts. We'll make it do what it do.
Let me know when that housing market going down, man.
Yeah,
man. When you see that happen in a few years, 4 years or something.
Man, I don't see the housing market going down. I see it stabilizing. I don't see it going down. I don't see the inflation part of it still continuing. It's going to slow down, but it's never going to come down like it did in 2008. That's history. It's unfortunate because shoot, if that happened now, we all know what we'd be doing. But just going in, but nah.
Yeah. That's why I said, like you said at the beginning, the new price is here. That's the one thing you like.
Price
I don't
is the
complain
price.
about gas prices, none of that shit. Once I see them reach a certain level, I'm like,
Price is the
this
price.
is what it is now.
The price is the
Once
price.
once they get it to a certain level and they see how people react to it, like, let's pull gas to $4. They still going out.
We gotta go to Costco.
Yeah,
facts.
you can drop it to $3.60. I got gas for $3.60 the other day. I just filled back up again for $4.09 a day.
I only go to Costco, man.
I went to Kroger and
I
it was
was
still
told to go to
$4.09.
Costco.
Costco prices are way cheaper.
And Sam's.
Oh, for real?
Every
Yeah.
time.
Sam's.
Got you. All right,
Every
so
time.
I gotta look into that. I go to Shell
Yeah.
all the time.
Go to Costco.
Depending if you got the little
Get your little
membership
Costco
or something
card.
Like
Yeah.
Cause I got Kroger and they give you 20 cents off.
Oh,
Yeah.
for real.
Yeah, you got to go to Kroger,
Yeah.
Costco,
Yeah, Sam's.
anywhere else. And I live in the city, so it's terrible here.
Terrible over
It's
here.
terrible. Oh my God! So you gotta. Luckily, I live by a Kroger.
Go to
man.
Costco, man.
Yeah, man. One before we go, man. We know Ben from Philly, man. Embiid did not get the MVP, y'all. HasBeens Podcast, man. Episode 111, man. We out, man.
Peace.
Peace.